Hello there. This is Paul Glumaz once again with General Welfare Presents. Today is the 24th of April, 2019. The most significant thing that's going on right now, today, and I'll read you the tweet from our president, Donald Trump. It goes, former CIA analyst Larry Johnson accuses United Kingdom intelligence of helping Obama administration spy on the 2016 Trump presidential campaign. Wow. It is now just a question of time before the truth comes out, and when it does, it will be a beauty. Now, the importance of this is that Larry Johnson has teamed up with William Binney, the former technical director at the NSA, who did the forensic analysis on the alleged hack of the DNC emails to show that it was never a hack, it was a leak. It's not forensically impossible for it to be a hack. The time it took was very quick. No hack could have downloaded all those emails without taking incredibly much longer amount of time. Now, in the Mueller report, Mueller made no effort to investigate this, yet has made the assertion in the Mueller report that the Russians did interfere in the U.S. elections, and used this as an example. Now, how does this example provide the basis for the accusation that the Russians interfered in the elections? Well, the leak, which they claim was a hack, became public, and that created a problem for the Clinton campaign, who were found to be using dirty tricks against the Bernie Sanders campaign, and therefore the Bernie Sanders people didn't vote for Hillary, and therefore Trump lost. Therefore, the Russians made this incredible intervention by supposedly hacking the emails and giving them to Julian Assange, who put them out. Now, this is amazing. This is amazing. This is like the nail that fell off the horse, the nail that fell out of the horseshoe, which crippled, which caused the horse to break down, which prevented the messenger from reaching the king, and the king, the kingdom was lost. This is that kind of causal relationship between the alleged hack and what happened. Nonetheless, it happens to be completely false. There was no hack. There was no effort to look at the servers. There's no effort at all. So now you have the big lie put out in the Mueller report. And believe me, the Mueller report, there was no collusion, there was no obstruction of justice, is a massive set of lies. Otherwise, to maintain the illusion, it's 414 pages of crap to maintain the illusion that the Russians won the election for Trump. $16,000 of supposed media, social media of the Russians was used to win the battle for Trump, as opposed to $100 million or $200 million that was used by the Hillary campaign. That's insane. It's total, but it's this avalanche of garbage in the Mueller report, and that's designed to be the rabbit hole for every news outlet in the world, in the U.S., all the mainstream media. This is the rabbit hole they're gonna try to take you into, in the Mueller report. But the real issue is even deeper. Now, Bill Binney, who spoke at our national conference and who we're trying to get on the air everywhere to explain this incredible forensic reality about the hack, the supposed hack, which is actually a leak. This is very crucial to the whole narrative and the proof that Russia interfered in the election. You have to understand, Russia interfered in the election, right? Everyone says that they did, without any proof. But that's the cover for maintaining an irregular war against Russia. So what you have is Pompeo, Pence, and Bolton running a war against Russia, running sanctions, running operations with the British, and you have Trump on the other hand running operations against them. This is a totally crazy situation. This is very crucial. If you can get across the idea or get across the truth that there was no hack, the whole system of lies begins to crumble on which the hostility is being maintained towards Russia. So that's one aspect of it. The second aspect of it came out today. Bill Binney was interviewed on Joseph DeGenova's talk show on the NSA. The NSA, according to Joseph DeGenova, Anton Scalia told him that he believed the NSA was spying on the Supreme Court. The NSA was spying on every agency in the government. It was spying on the CIA, the NSA. And Bill Binney corroborated that. And what does that mean? That means any opposition to the policies that the United States has adopted for war and everything else like that would be discovered before any opponents to those policies would be discovered and gone after. Like Michael Flynn. Or there would be massive blackmail lists. There would be blackmail. You could blackmail Supreme Court justices. You could blackmail generals, the chiefs of staff. You could blackmail congressmen and senators, what have you. This is incredible, and this is now being revealed. But the role of the British is also starting to be revealed, and Trump is indicating that that's the direction that they're going to go in. Now you have to understand that if you go in that direction, you're going against the FBI, you're going against the CIA, you're going against the whole system. That process is the same process that connects up with the exoneration of LaRouche, because it's the same networks that did this to LaRouche. And as Ramsey Clark, the former Attorney General, said at the time, in the early 90s, in the late 80s, early 90s, he says this is the worst case of a government abuse of power against any political organization in his entire knowledge, of the most consistent and worst harassment and abuse he's ever seen, and we survived it barely, and we're here, and the exoneration of LaRouche is a key part of the whole picture, because if Trump goes after these layers, he has to take them down, or they're going to take him down. We are now entering a situation where either way it goes, and exonerating LaRouche is absolutely critical, because no one wants to discuss anything that LaRouche has ever said for fear of being LaRouched. That is, and then the media goes racist, anti-Semitic, cult leader, the whole, and then, I didn't know he was that. I didn't know it was LaRouche. Of course you knew it was LaRouche. It was a LaRouche activist. Of course you knew that. But, I didn't know. I didn't know. No. I didn't know. No. This is what's going on. And who is LaRouche? Well, his economic policy and his proposal for global development is now the policy of China. It's the Belt and Road. They're having their second major conference this weekend in Beijing. There are 37 heads of state, 150, no, I think it's more like 300 cabinet ministers, 111 countries, 5,000 participants. This is huge. This is the policy of LaRouche. And the Chinese will tell you that. Nobody else will, but the Chinese will tell you that, and they're the ones who adopted it. So you need to exonerate LaRouche in order to have people dialoguing about the ideas, because this is how they essentially eliminate the discussion that would otherwise be going on around Glass-Steagall, around the credit system, around how you create infrastructure and all of that. All that discussion is not occurring because LaRouche is a dirty word. You do not mention LaRouche in polite company. You will have no more polite relationships if you do that. And that's the kind of situation that has to change, because policymakers have to have the right, have to have the potential to be able to discuss ideas. And it's even more profound than that. I mean, Europe went through a dark age, starting with the Roman Empire. And for 1700 years, no one knew Plato existed. And it was the rediscovery of Plato that was key to the creation of the European Renaissance, which later was key to the development of the United States. But now, similarly, our nation, no longer knows about Alexander Hamilton. They no longer know about Lincoln's economic advisor, Henry Carey. They no longer know about Friedrich List. They don't know about the economics that built this nation, or the economics that inspired Franklin Delano Roosevelt. They don't know that. They lie. They say Keynes was the guy that inspired Frank. No, it's absolutely not. He was an enemy of Keynes. Franklin Delano hated Keynes. He was a Hamiltonian. He studied Hamilton. But you'll never know that, because that's how you control the discussion. You eliminate the ideas, the real ideas, and you create a situation where you ban those ideas. And the process of persecuting LaRouche was a process of banning his ideas from public discourse. And that has to change, and that is key also to the success of the Trump administration in terms of the policies that Trump will have to adopt. We are not living in the greatest economic boom, as Trump said. We are not. There has been some increase in the economic activity because of what Trump has done, but we are not living we are living in the shadow of a financial blowout of Armageddon proportions, which requires that governments adopt, policies like Glass-Steagall and so on. The governments actually work. That the major governments like Russia, China, India, and the U.S. actually sit down and work out a new Bretton Woods, a new fixed exchange system, a new agreement among nations for how to have trade and how to have a financial structure globally that actually benefits every nation and makes every sovereign nation have a capacity not to be looted by the money changers. This is very important. So this is the most recent development. This is in the last couple of days. Now, we are entering this period of incredible crisis. And just to give you a sense of the difference, in Libya, there's a general who was in the Chadian War for Gaddafi, and then he got captured, and then he ended up in the U.S. He ended up working for the CIA, and then he came back to Libya, and he ended up. There was an election in Libya, and the parliament that won the election was not in favor of the Islamic fundamentalists, Al-Qaeda and ISIS, who were being supported by the Obama administration. So they ended up having to flee to a place called Tobruk, and they set up, and the General Haftar became the leader of the military forces. And he presented himself as the leader of a unified military capability, a unified military force for all of Libya. The problem was that you had various different factions of Islamic terrorists being supported by from all over, and you had all these regional tribes and militias and all of that. And this thing is a mess. And since 2011 to now, 8 years, you've had a terrible mess. Refugees, terrible mess. So, as General Haftar is in the process of putting together a national, unified, bringing everybody together in a unified way, convincing all the militias to join or become part of the national army, and creating a national structure, and he's coming into Tripoli. The United Nations and the Bush and the British and the French and Pompeo and Bolton are furiously trying to stop him, so that Libya continues to be this mess, and everything is being made to try to get him to have a ceasefire. And who gives him a phone call? Donald Trump. I appreciate the war on the terrorists that you are carrying out. So right there, Donald Trump is saying, I'm not going along with my Secretary of State or with my national security advisor. But it's not possible for Trump to go along with the Secretary. The State Department is one entire agency for a new world order of permanent wars. That is all the State Department is. There's nobody in the State Department left that actually has any concept of working with Russia or China or anything like that. This is their, they're like, they've been programmed. They ain't going to change until they're made to change. And do as you will, they're not going to listen to Trump. Who's Trump? Who's Donald Trump? Oh, he's the president. Really? I don't, he's not my president. My president is still Barack Obama. My president is still George W. Bush. My president is still Bill Clinton. No, I don't accept this guy as our president. He's not our president. He's supposed to have been removed. He wasn't removed. Gee, why is that? Well, because he's with the Russians, he's with the Chinese, or he's with whatever. He hasn't been removed, and they're still going to try to remove him. It's totally insane. 18 months to the next election, and there are Democratic candidates screaming impeachment, impeachment, impeachment. For what? Why? Because they only exist because they are part of this British Empire. And that's where the money comes from, the campaign donations come from. This is the teat. You want to get in, you want the gravy, you want to be elected, you want to have power. You got to get in there and squeeze your way in there and get to that teat before the other guy gets to the teat. That's the way it works. And all the people that want to get in on those teats, the George Soros teat, the various other billionaire teats, they got to compete for it. You don't just get to go there if you want to go there. You got to compete for it. So all of them have to compete for it. And right now, there's a lot of competition in the Democratic Party for getting themselves squarely into the Soros, milk. And that's what's going on with the Democratic Party. They forgot who? Working class? Who are they? There's no LBGTs in the working class. Well, there may be a few. But you know, that's not really important. All right, so that's what's going on with the Democratic Party, and the Republican Party is furious. On the one hand, they're trying to use Trump to raise money to stay alive. On the other hand, they hate Trump. You know, so this situation is very ripe, and you know, Brennan, Comey, McCabe, Clapper, maybe not Clapper. He's gone past the statute of limitations. These people need to go to prison. You need to put these people in prison. As it begins to unfold, what actually happened? Okay, we're talking treason against the United States, against the Constitution. You had massive surveillance. You had interference. And you had an illegal effort to remove the president. What would have happened if they had succeeded in removing the president? You would no longer have a constitution. You would no longer have a Republican presidential democratic system. You would no longer have that. The intelligence community, the security apparatus, the FBI and the Justice Department and the State Department decides who gets to be president, and the financial powers directly. Doesn't matter what the people think. And you might as well have tanks on the lawn, you know, and so forth. This is what this whole thing is. This is the 9/11 world, post 9/11 world, 2001. This is what we've been living under. We've been in the grips of an emerging fascist police state, and something happened against it. And if they can throw him out, throw Donald Trump out, they will have consolidated that police state. Well, they haven't. They haven't. But it's still a war. And the situation is very, 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 very intense, because Bolton and Pompeo are now talking about massive sanctions on China and India for continuing to trade with Iran in oil after May 2nd. That's when the exemptions run out. These guys are so crazy. You know, they consider Cuba and Nicaragua and Venezuela to be the great strategic threat. How many Nicaraguans are coming into the United States? I don't hear any Nicaraguans making it into the United States. They got law and order in Nicaragua. Oh, that guy is a communist, he's a socialist, he's a whatever. Well, hell, those people aren't leaving Nicaragua to come to southern Mexico to come to the United States. There aren't any Nicaraguans coming up to the United States to invade our borders. But look at the mess we've created in these other countries. So why? It's not good? You want to create more of a mess by destroying Nicaragua? So who cares if they're socialist or communist or whatever? The point is, they have an elected government, and it hasn't collapsed. The International Monetary Fund doesn't control it. Oh, okay. So you're not going to see any Nicaraguans coming up across the border. So why are they the enemy? Well, you figure that one out. Okay? So we're entering this period. And as these revelations start to unfold, and as Trump indicated in that tweet, this is only the beginning, folks. This is only the beginning. We have, he said it's going to be beautiful. He said it's going to be beautiful. That's what he said. What did he say? This is what Donald Trump said today. it will be a beauty. And what does he mean by that? It will be a beauty. I don't know. But it's going to be a beauty. It's going to come out. Whatever's going to come out is going to come out. And there's a lot that is going to come out. So I leave you with this message. A lot of people are very pessimistic because they've been living in a very horrible system. And it's very important that people get out there and not just support the president, but support putting these people in prison and support exposing the role of the British in all of this. That's the most important thing. Okay.